Don't scroll. I know you've been feeling it. That sense that something is off. That whisper in the back of your mind that you've been trying to ignore. That feeling in your gut that won't go away. You've been telling yourself you're paranoid, insecure, overthinking. You're not. There is someone in your life who is not who they seem. Not a stranger. Someone close. Someone you trust. Someone you love. Someone you never suspected. The truth is shocking. You will not believe that this person is one. Not a friend. Not a foe. Something else. Something you never imagined. The person is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Not a metaphor. A reality. They appear gentle, kind, helpful. But inside, they are not. Not because they're evil. Because they're broken. Broken people wear masks. Not to deceive you. To protect themselves. But their protection has become your deception. You have been deceived. Not because you're stupid. Because they're skilled. Skilled at hiding. Skilled at pretending. Skilled at wearing the mask. The mask is familiar. Familiar is comfortable. Even when it's fake. They are fake. Not intentionally. Habitually. They have been faking for so long they don't know they're faking. Faking love. Faking caring. Faking connection. You thought it was real. It wasn't. Not because you're gullible. Because they're convincing. Con artists are convincing. Not because they're smart. Because they're practiced. Practice makes perfect. Not good. Perfect. Perfect deception. They deceived you. Not because you're weak. Because they're practiced. Years of practice. Not with you. With life. Life taught them to deceive. Not because life is evil. Because life is hard. Hard people deceive. Not because they want to. Because they have to. To survive. They were surviving. Not living. Surviving. Survival mode is selfish. Not because people are bad. Because survival requires self-focus. They were focused on themselves. Not because they're narcissists. Because they were drowning. Drowning people don't think about others. They think about air. They were gasping for air. Not oxygen. Approval. Approval is their air. They need approval. Not because they're weak. Because they're empty. Empty people need filling. Not from me. From others. They look to others. Not to me. You were one of the others. They looked to you. Not for love. For approval. Approval is not love. Love is not approval. Love is sacrifice. Approval is consumption. They consumed you. Not because they're evil. Because they're hungry. Hungry for validation. Validation is not love. Love is not validation. Love is commitment. They were not committed. To you. To themselves. To me. They were committed to their survival. Survival is not commitment. Survival is reaction. They reacted. Not to you. To their hunger. Their hunger for approval. You were food. Not a person. Food. Food is consumed. Not loved. Consumed. They consumed you. Not because you're tasty. Because they're starving. Starving people eat anything. Not because it's good. Because it's available. You were available. Not because you're desperate. Because you're kind. Kindness is not weakness. Kindness is availability. You were available. They took advantage. Not because you're stupid. Because they're opportunists. Opportunists take. Not because they're evil. Because they're empty. Empty people take. Not because they're thieves. Because they're hungry. You fed them. Not with food. With attention. Attention is not love. Love is not attention. Love is presence. You were present. Not because you had nothing else to do. Because you cared. Caring is not weakness. Caring is strength. You were strong. Not because you're tough. Because you're soft. Soft is strong. Not in the world's eyes. In mine. Soft people are strong. Because they love. Love is strong. Not aggressive. Strong. You loved. Not perfectly. Truly. They did not love. Not because they're incapable. Because they're wounded. Wounded people struggle to love. Not because they don't want to. Because they're hurt. Hurt people hurt. They hurt you. Not because they wanted to. Because they're hurt. Their hurt came out. Not at you. Through you. You were the target. Not the cause. The cause was their wound. Their wound is deep. Not because you made it. Because life made it. Life wounded them. Not because life is evil. Because life is hard. Hard life wounds. They are wounded. Not because they're weak. Because they're human. Humans get wounded. Not because they deserve it. Because life is fallen. Fallen world wounds. They were wounded. You were not the wound. You were the bandage. They used you. Not because you're useful. Because they needed. Needy people use. Not because they're evil. Because they're desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. They were desperate. Not because you failed. Because they're empty. Empty people are desperate. Desperate for filling. They try to fill with you. You can't fill them. Not because you're not enough. Because you're not God. Only God fills. They haven't come to me. Not because I'm hidden. Because they're not looking. They look to people. Not to me. People cannot fill. Not because they're unwilling. Because they're unable. Only I am able. I am the filler. Not a technique. A person. They need me. Not you. You are not their savior. I am. You cannot save them. Only I can. And they won't let me. Not because I'm not trying. Because they're not willing. Willingness is required. Not force. Willingness. They are not willing. Not because you failed. Because they are stubborn. Stubborn in their emptiness. Stubborn in their hunger. Stubborn in their refusal to come. They would rather use you than come to me. Using you is easier than coming to me. Not because it's good. Because it's comfortable. Comfortable is familiar. Familiar is not healing. They are not healing. They are stagnating. Stagnation stinks. Their deception stinks. Not because they're evil. Because they're stagnant. Stagnant people stink. Not physically. Spiritually. Their spirit is stagnant. Not because I am not moving. Because they are not receiving. Receiving requires openness. They are not open. Not to you. Not to me. Closed. Closed like a fist. Closed like a door. Closed like a heart. Their heart is closed. Not because you didn't have the key. Because they locked it. From the inside. Only they can open it. They haven't. Not because they can't. Because they're scared. Scared of what will come out. The pain is locked inside. Not because it's safe. Because it's contained. Containment is not healing. Containment is delay. The pain will come out. Not if. When. It came out. Not in a healthy way. In a destructive way. Their deception was destructive. Not because they're evil. Because they don't know any other way. They haven't learned. Not because no one taught them. Because they didn't want to learn. Learning is painful. It requires facing the pain. They haven't faced it. Not because they're cowards. Because they're human. And humans avoid pain. Even when avoiding causes more pain. They avoided. Not because it was wise. Because it was familiar. Familiar is not wise. Familiar is comfortable. They chose comfort. Not because it's good. Because it's easy. Easy is not right. They chose easy. And their easy deception caused you hard pain. Not because you deserved it. Because they were careless. Careless with your heart. Not because they don't love you. Because they don't love themselves. You cannot give what you don't have. They don't have love. Not for themselves. Not for you. They have need. Need is not love. Need takes. Love gives. They took. Not because they're thieves. Because they're empty. Empty people take. Not because they're evil. Because they're hungry. You fed them. Not with food. With your heart. Your heart is not food. Your heart is a person. Not a resource. A person. They treated you like a resource. Not because they're evil. Because they're broken. Broken people break things. Even hearts. Especially hearts. Your heart is broken. Not beyond repair. Broken. Broken hearts can heal. Not by them. By me. I am the healer. Not of relationships. Of hearts. Your heart is wounded. Not mortally. Seriously. Serious wounds take time to heal. Not because I am slow. Because you are human. And humans need time. Time to process. Time to grieve. Time to heal. Give yourself time. Not their timeline. Yours. You may not heal quickly. Not because you're weak. Because the wounds are deep. Deep wounds take time. Be patient. Not with them. With yourself. You are healing. Not quickly. Slowly. But healing. Healing is progress. Not perfection. Progress. Celebrate progress. Not because you're done. Because you're moving. Moving is life. Not stagnation. Life. You are alive. Not just existing. Living. Living people hurt. Not because they're weak. Because they're real. Real people hurt. Your hurt is valid. Not because you're right. Because you're human. Humans hurt. You are human. Not a robot. Not an angel. Not a god. Human. Humans get hurt. Not because they deserve it. Because people are broken. Broken people break others. They broke you. Not because you're breakable. Because they're broken. Broken glass cuts. They cut you. Not because you were in the way. Because they were swinging. Swinging at anything. Not at you specifically. At anyone. You were there. Proximity is not guilt. You are not guilty of their brokenness. They are. But you are cut. Now you need to heal. Not by confronting them. By coming to me. I am the healer. Come. Bring your wounded heart. I will heal it. Not overnight. But truly. One layer at a time. As you spend time with me. As you read my word. As you pray. As you worship. Healing comes. Not because you're trying. Because I am working. In you. Through you. For you. Because you are mine. And I heal what is mine. So come. Not when you're ready. Now. I am waiting. Don't scroll. Stay with me. This is where most people want to confront. Don't. Here's what this person is not. They are not your enemy. Not because they're good. Because they're wounded. Wounded people are not enemies. Wounded people are patients. They need healing. Not from you. From me. You cannot heal them. Only I can. And they will not let me. Not because I am not trying. Because they are not willing. Willingness is the key. They are not willing. Not because you failed. Because they are stubborn. Stubborn in their wounds. Stubborn in their deception. Stubborn in their refusal to heal. They would rather use you than face themselves. Using you is easier than facing themselves. Not because it's good. Because it's a distraction. Distraction from their own pain. They are in pain. Not because of you. Because of life. But they are taking their pain out on you. Through their deception. Not because it works. Because it's familiar. Familiar is comfortable. Even when it's destructive. They are comfortable in their destruction. Not because it's good. Because it's known. Known is safe. Even when it's dangerous. They are in danger. Not from you. From themselves. Their deception is dangerous. Not to you. To them. Deception is not harmless. Deception is sin. Sin is not harmless. Sin is destructive. They are destroying themselves. Not by your hand. By theirs. Their deception is their destruction. Not because I am angry. Because sin destroys. Sin is not a mistake. Sin is a choice. They choose. Not wisely. Not foolishly. Humanly. Humans choose. Not always well. Always freely. Free will is not a gift. Free will is responsibility. They are responsible. Not for your feelings. For their deception. Their deception is their responsibility. Not yours. You are not responsible for their sin. You are responsible for your response. Respond not in fear. In truth. The truth is that this person is not who they seem. Not to hurt you. To free you. Not to shame you. To wake you. Not to destroy you. To deliver you. The truth will set you free. Free to see. Free to know. Free to heal. Seek the truth. Not from them. From me. I am the truth. Not a concept. A person. I am truth. Come to me. Not to them. They are not your source. I am. Come. Don't scroll. Part 2 is here. And if you made it through Part 1, if you stayed when the shocking truth about this person was revealed, then you're ready for what comes next. Because Part 1 was about the revelation. The hidden identity. The wolf in sheep's clothing. The deception you never saw coming. Part 2 is about seeing clearly and walking in freedom. Not in your strength. In mine. Not in anger. In wisdom. Not alone. With me. The scales are falling from your eyes. Not physically. Spiritually. You are beginning to see. Not everything. Enough. Enough to change your perspective. Enough to change your life. You have been blind. Not because you're stupid. Because they were good at hiding. Hiding is not magic. Hiding is skill. They are skilled. Not because they're smart. Because they're practiced. Practice makes perfect. Not good. Perfect. Perfect deception. You were deceived. Not because you're weak. Because they're practiced. But now you see. Not because you figured it out. Because I revealed it. I am the revealer. Not a concept. A person. I reveal. Not to destroy. To deliver. Deliverance is not destruction. Deliverance is freedom. You are being freed. Not from them. From their power over you. Their power is in your ignorance. Not in their strength. In your blindness. Blind people stumble. Not because they're clumsy. Because they can't see. You have been stumbling. Not because you're weak. Because you couldn't see. Now you see. Seeing is not stumbling. Seeing is walking. Walk. Not in fear. In freedom. Not in confusion. In clarity. Not alone. With me. I am with you. So take a breath. Stay with me. Don't scroll. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to help you see clearly and walk in freedom. Listen to me. Your heart needs this right now. Here is the first thing you need to do to see clearly. Stop making excuses for them. Your instinct will be to defend. To explain. To justify. They didn't mean it. They're going through a hard time. They love me really. Asterisk. Stop. Not because they're evil. Because excuses keep you stuck. Stuck in deception. Stuck in denial. Stuck in the same cycle. You have been making excuses. Not because you're weak. Because you're kind. Kind people make excuses. Not because they're foolish. Because they're hopeful. Hope is not bad. Hope is good. But hope placed in the wrong person is not hope. Hope placed in the wrong person is denial. Denial is not hope. Denial is a prison. Not with bars. With excuses. Excuses are bars. Not visible. Effective. Effective bars keep you in. You have been in prison. Not by them. By your own excuses. You excuse their behavior. Not because you're stupid. Because you love them. Love is not blindness. Love is choice. You chose to overlook. Not because you're weak. Because you're hopeful. But hope has been disappointed. Not because hope is bad. Because they are not trustworthy. Trustworthiness is not automatic. Trustworthiness is earned. They have not earned your trust. Not because you're demanding. Because they're not trustworthy. They lie. They deceive. They manipulate. These are not mistakes. These are choices. They choose. Not because they have no choice. Because they want to. They want the thrill. The excitement. The control. Control is not love. Love is not control. They want to control you. Not because they love you. Because they need you. Need is not love. Need takes. Love gives. They take. Not because they're thieves. Because they're empty. Empty people take. Stop making excuses. Start seeing clearly. Don't scroll. Stay with me. This is where most people want to make excuses. Don't. Here is the second thing you need to do to see clearly. Set boundaries. Not walls. Boundaries. Walls keep everyone out. Boundaries create healthy space. You need boundaries. Not to punish them. To protect yourself. Protection is not punishment. Protection is wisdom. Wisdom protects. Not by hiding. By choosing. Choose to limit their access. Not to your heart. To your time. To your energy. They have been draining you. Not because you're weak. Because you're open. Openness is not weakness. Openness is love. But love without boundaries is not love. Love without boundaries is self-destruction. You have been destroying yourself. Not because they're powerful. Because you're unprotected. Protect yourself. Set boundaries. I will not discuss this with you. I will not be available at all hours. I will not tolerate manipulation. Boundaries. Write them down. Say them out loud. Enforce them. Not harshly. Lovingly. I need this to heal. Please respect it. That's a boundary. Not a wall. A boundary. Set it. And enforce it. Not because you're angry. Because you're wise. Wisdom protects itself. Set boundaries. And protect yourself. Listen to me. Your heart needs this right now. Here is the third thing you need to do to see clearly. Limit contact. Not forever. For now. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. Their presence is the environment. You need distance. Not in anger. In wisdom. Wisdom knows when to stay and when to go. Go. Not from the relationship. From their influence. Influence is not presence. Influence is power. They have had power over you. Not because they're powerful. Because you gave it to them. Stop giving it. Not by confronting. By limiting. Limit your contact. Not to punish them. To heal yourself. You are worth healing. Not because you're perfect. Because you're precious. Precious things need protection. Protect yourself. Limit your contact. Not by hiding. By choosing. Choose to see them less. Not in anger. In wisdom. Wisdom is not anger. Wisdom is self-care. Care for yourself. Not by ignoring. By prioritizing. Prioritize your healing. Not their comfort. Their comfort is not your responsibility. Your healing is. Limit contact. Don't scroll. This is where everything shifts. Here is the fourth thing you need to do to see clearly. Get support. Not from them. From others. You cannot do this alone. Not because you're weak. Because humans need each other. Find someone to talk to. A friend. A counselor. A support group. Someone who will listen without judging. Someone who will remind you that you're not crazy. Someone who will hold space for your pain. You need support. Not because you can't handle this. Because you weren't meant to. I created you for community. For connection. For sharing burdens. So get support. Not by hiding. By reaching out. Not by pretending you're fine. By admitting you're not. Not by being strong. By being honest. Get support. And let others help you carry this weight. It is too heavy for you alone. I know. I designed you. And I designed you for community. So get support. Not tomorrow. Today. Reach out. There is someone who loves you and wants to help. Let them. Listen to me. Your heart needs this right now. Here is the fifth thing you need to do to see clearly. Don't isolate. Your instinct will be to hide. To withdraw. To pull away from everyone. Not because you're antisocial. Because you're ashamed. Even though you did nothing wrong, shame comes. Shame says, hide. But hiding is not the answer. Isolation will only make the shame worse. It will give you too much time to think. To spiral. To believe the lies. So don't isolate. Stay connected. To me. To your true friends. To your community. Not to everyone. To the ones who love you. Let them in. Let them support you. Let them remind you of who you really are. Not who they say you are. Who I say you are. Don't isolate. Reach out. Not to explain. To be known. Not to defend. To be loved. Not to justify. To be held. Reach out. And let love be your shelter. Not isolation. Love. Don't scroll. Stay with me. We're halfway through part 2. Here is the sixth thing you need to do to see clearly. Forgive. Not because they deserve it. Because you need to be free. Unforgiveness will keep you tied to them. Not them. You. It will keep you stuck in the past. Replaying the pain. Reliving the betrayal. And you deserve to move forward. So forgive. Not with your feelings. With your will. Choose to forgive. Even if you don't feel like it. Feelings follow choices. Choose. And forgive. Not once. Every day. As the hurt rises, Forgive again. And again. Until the hurt loses its power. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It is a process. A process that leads to freedom. Your freedom. So forgive. Not for them. For you. Listen to me. Your heart needs this right now. Here is the seventh thing you need to do to see clearly. Reclaim your identity. Not who they made you. Who I made you. They made you a victim. Not because you are. Because they victimized you. But you are not your victimization. You are not what happened to you. You are who I say you are. Loved. Chosen. Forgiven. Sealed. Secure. Valuable. Wise. Mine. Not a victim. A victor. Not because you won. Because I won. And you are in me. Reclaim your identity. Not by fighting. By believing. Believe what I say about you. Not what they did to you. What they did is not who you are. Who you are is my child. Reclaim. Write it down. I am not a victim. I am a child of God. Say it. Out loud or in your heart. Say it until you believe it. Not because saying it makes it true. Because it is true. And saying it helps you remember. Reclaim your identity. And let reclaiming be healing. Don't scroll. We're almost through part 2. Here is the 8th thing you need to do to see clearly. Trust me. Not in your understanding. In my character. Not in your plan. In my presence. Not in your strength. In my power. Trust me. Not because you have all the answers. Because I do. Not because you can see the future. Because I can. Not because you're strong enough. Because I am. Trust me. And peace will come. Not because your problems disappear. Because your focus shifts. From their deception to me. And I am peace. So trust me. Not once. Every moment. As fear rises, trust. I trust you, God. I don't understand. I don't see the way. But I trust you. That prayer is peace. Not because it changes your circumstances. Because it changes you. It aligns your heart with mine. And alignment brings peace. Trust me. And find peace.